Town of Orangetown Planning Board, July 22nd, now in session. Please rise for pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item is the Greek Orthodox Community of Rockland County Site Plan PB 26-11. Yes, sir. What can we do for you?
All right, thank you. My name is Jesse Coakley. I'm with Collier's Engineering and Design. I'm the engineer of record for the proposed site plan for the St. Constantine and Helen Greek Church of Rockland County. I have two gentlemen with me tonight. Why don't you introduce yourselves?
I'm Father Michael Palomar, I'm the pastor.
And John Fellis, President of the Parish Council.
So I'm going to give a little bit of a history here with this project because it goes back quite a number of years with the town and specifically with the site plan. So it was originally approved back in 2004 for an expansion to mostly the parking facilities, but it was done so in a manner that allowed for and accounted for potential future expansion to the actual building itself. And they pulled some permits, did some work at the site, mostly infrastructure related, the stormwater basins, some of the drainage pipes and catch basins were installed. And then, I'll let Father speak to a little bit more of the, the nuanced timelines, but things stalled out there. And in the last couple of years, they've picked back up and, really focused on the building expansion itself. And so that's the site plan that you have before you today. It's a two-story addition to the existing facility, but it does not include all of that additional parking that was, part of the 2004 site plan. The site does provide for a few additional parking spaces to comply with the town code based on the expansion, but it is a large reduction in impervious coverage compared to the 2004 plan that was approved. I do want to note, at least briefly, that this does not change the church's operation, and I'll let Father speak a little bit more about, why they're seeking to do this and how it's going to serve, the community.
Thank you very much for having us today. We've been a community incorporated, I think, in 1962, so about 64 years, part of Orangetown and part of Rockland County as a whole. And for a long term, we've always wanted to have, as any Greek Orthodox or Roman Catholic church or church, and ancillary facilities in order to do our ministry. About 61 years ago, we built our first church, which was really like a high ranch house, and it was like kind of a house church for a while. In the 80s, we built our current building, our facilities right now, which is essentially a church and a hall right below it, for Sunday morning worship and our coffee hour, social hour right afterwards. However, maybe in the 90s, the church started to have a little bit of a plateau in its growth. I have a letter, though, from between the architect and our parish council president at the time, talking about the expansion, the regular growth of our building to meet our needs that we have to do our ministry. It took a little while to figure out how large and how much we can include, because we wanted classrooms. That was the number one thing that we desired. We wanted proper office spaces. Right now we used what were storage rooms has been the office for the priest for the past, I guess, 40 years or 38 years. It functions perfectly fine, I guess. And we always wanted to have kind of a library and more space for us to do our active ministries. About 22 years ago is when we finally came together, or 25 years ago, we came together with our plan that we wanted to have classrooms. At that time, it did include a gymnasium, like a basketball gym, in order for our kids to play and join. There's a, you could do it with the Catholic League, or you could do it with the Greek Orthodox League in the city or in Westchester. And we thought we could have a team, but by the time that we got the permits and we started the work in 2004 and 2005, the decline became very obvious in our church community, and the vibrancy, especially among the youth. Maybe not among the elderly, but our youth was not as vibrant. And so things stalled out. We reduced now because we've had a resurgence kind of since maybe the past 4 or 5 years. The life of our community is full. Every Sunday we have a full worship liturgy, mass. We have many families. We have lots of baptisms and lots of people converting. There's a lot of noise in our church. If anybody ever comes, it can seem a little strange to people, but if a church is not crying, it is dying. And so we're very excited about it, but we dusted off our plans from 2004 and said, this is not all necessary. The primary thing we took off was the gymnasium. We reduced from about 26,000 square foot building to 13,000. Oh, Jessica talking. And we changed, instead of having a loop around road with this very scenic parking and thing, we said, well, we should be more functional and not do all of that. That's going to spoil a bunch of space and stretch out as much as possible just because we like Belgian block and so forth. We want to effectively do our ministries, which right now, worship on Sunday is our biggest event. We have regularly, over 200 people gathered together. We have about 270 families, and I don't know if it's during the summer it's a little bit less, but maybe 250 people on a Sunday gather together, and that's really our biggest, highest traffic event, you could say. We have Sunday school following that. We have religious education on Wednesday nights, similar to CCD, if you're familiar with that. We have Greek school, and we have folk dancing. We have Bible study weekly. All of these things, though, currently happen in the hall. Our downstairs hall, that's about a 5,000, 6,000 square foot hall, capacity for 250 people. We have little sectioned off areas where we try to do our classes, but you can hear the classroom over, you can hear the people talking outside. We are finally at the point now with funding, with the vibrancy of our community, to build proper offices, to build a library, a lecture hall, and the classroom, the biggest thing that we need. And it's all just to make sure that we can do our ministries effectively, and make sure we meet the needs of our growing community, and their educational needs and their religious needs.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you.
So the other thing we had to balance with this was obviously the budget, right? So we don't want to necessarily install all this pavement and parking if we don't need to. We don't need to. It drives up cost. It creates a lot of extra disturbance. It creates additional engineering and permitting, constraints. So we had been to PRC a number of times over the last year, and some issues were raised, from a stormwater perspective and also fire safety. And I'm very happy to say that we were able to work with both the engineering department and the chief fire inspector, and also I would have to acknowledge Veolia Water for kind of coming up with a solution that helps keep the project in budget for the church and, doesn't spiral into something larger than it needs to be, to meet their needs. So just to touch on that, the stormwater, if you have gone to the site in the last week or so, you probably have seen that the stormwater basins are being maintained, and cleared out to basically restore them to their original design, shape, and function from 2004. Our stormwater report, after talking with Mr. Peters, which we were able to find a record of from 2004, we were then able to kind of update that report to show this new plan fits in those stormwater basins, but also upgrading the rainfall amounts to 2026 rainfall amounts, because I think everyone is aware that rainfall is different now than it was 20 years ago. So that is demonstrated in our stormwater report. We do not exceed an acre of disturbance, so we don't need a SWIP, so we just need to meet those peak flow requirements, which we do. Secondly, we did meet with Chief Fire Inspector Dave Majewski a number of times to go over how can we service the church, because in its existing condition, the nearest fire hydrant is not within 600 feet of the furthest point of the building. So we were also able to work with Veolia Water, who's going to extend the water main down the road and allow us to put in a hydrant closer to the entrance to the church, or I should say the emergency entrance, which then allows to be within 600 feet of all points of the old and new building. And we're also going to widen the front drive aisle to the 26-foot wide width, so that the aerial apparatus can go in there, because obviously if you've been to the site or you're familiar, it does have the tall tower which exceeds the height limit, where you then need the wider road. So that's pretty much the project in a nutshell. We are in receipt of the comments. I know the board likes to go through those. I'm happy to answer any questions. I am aware of the drainage consultant's memo, and I'll address that, I guess, as we go through it.
Okay, thank you. Let me go through the consultant's reports. I have a letter from Orangetown ZBA, signed Rick Oliver, dated February 4th, 2026, and revised July 6th. He's got 21 comments. Orangetown DME, Bruce Peters, July 10th, 2026, is 20 comments. I have Orangetown Fire, dated June 19th, 26, 1 comment. I have a letter from Orangetown Planning Consultant, Paul Degansky, June 24th, with 1 comment. I have a letter from Orangetown, Wesson and Sampson, dated July 17th, which says insufficient supporting information was provided to demonstrate mitigation of potential significant adverse impacts as a result of increased stormwater runoff. We therefore recommend that the Greek Orthodox Community of Rockland County site not be approved for drainage at this time. And there are 8 comments on that. Okay, I have a letter from Rockland County Department of Planning, dated June 25th, with 15 comments. Another letter from Rockland County Center of Environmental Health, dated July 7th, 26, with 16 comments. I have an email from Orange and Rockland, Alfred Gaddy, dated June 28th, no gas service to the property. A reference sheet from the Rockland County Department of Planning, dating June 5th, comments attached. I have a consent letter from Rockland County Department of Planning, dated June 25th, giving the Rockland County, Orangetown lead agent. I have a public comment email from Robert Mizacki, dated July 21st, 26. I have the short EAF form dated August 25th, 2025. I have a comment response letter from Collier Engineering, May 15th, 2026. I also have from the February 11th Planning Board meeting, Orangetown ZBA, Rick Oliver, February 4th, has 9 comments. Orangetown DME, dated February 25th, 26, has 21 comments. Orangetown Fire, February 10th, has 4 comments. I have a letter from Orangetown Planning Consultant, Paul Degansky, dated February 8th, with 4 comments. Orangetown Drainage Consultant, Weston Sampson, February 11th, with 16 comments. Rockland County Department of Planning, dated February 10th, 16 comments. I have an email from Orange and Rockland, Alfred Gaddy, January 30th, no gas service to property. I have an email from Palisades Interstate Parkway Commission, February 18th, no comments. A referral letter from Rockland County Department of Planning, January 23rd, comments attached. Consent letter from Rockland County Department of Planning, January 23rd, consenting Town of Orangetown Planning Board Service Lead Agent. Short EAF dated August 20th, 2025. And I have a narrative prepared by Collier Engineering, November 25th, 25. Audrey, anything else?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Andy, questions or comments?
Yeah, just a couple. You said you're gonna take away some parking spaces, but add some, or?
So, I know that was a little confusing, but I do have with me the 2004 plan, where you can see this had a ton of parking proposed around the site. We're not doing that now. We're just doing the building expansion, and then we're adding about 14 spaces in the back here. This pavement is just being repaved. It's existing pavement.
You're gonna make it parking, or?
This is just a turnaround back there now.
Basically,
Fire can go back there, yes, and I think there's also a couple spots here, like, you know.
So how many parking spaces are you gonna have?
We're adding 14, which brings the total to 156, which is the required amount. Or excuse me, 146, which is
46.
which is one more than the required amount.
You're gonna have handicap too, right? Or you
Yes, so
probably already do?
that was actually a comment in the county planning letter, because right now all the handicap spaces or the ADA spaces are located next to each other. Those are gonna have to be a little bit more spaced out because they don't have the striped aisles next to them. So we have a few spots where we think we can put them, which we'll add to the final plan.
I don't have anything else.
Okay, thank you. Lisa, questions or comments?
Is there a landscaping plan?
So there isn't a proposed landscaping plan. You know, what we tried to do with this addition is, as Father noted, is do it as efficiently as possible. The site does exist. There are all the trees there. We're not proposing to damage those today. I don't know if they're opposed to doing some, you know, amenity type landscaping in the front, you know, as part of like an attractive
We do hope
entrance.
to beautify, but not.
Yeah. I do know there is a comment
From Rick?
from Rick, and then also the Palisade, or not the Palisades, but county planning brings up the fact that where these 14 spaces are going is pointed towards the Palisades. Again, if they've driven by the site, they would know you can't really see this site from the Palisades. It's pretty heavily wooded. So we would like to either override that, or what we have discussed too is there is an existing, you know, chain link fence back there. We could put privacy slats in those, which would effectively screen any headlights. But to put landscaping back here, no one's going to see it. It's not going to do anything to you know.
Is that Palisades fence? Palisades Interstate Parkway, is that their fence?
I think it's in there right of way, but I think it was probably up for the church many years ago. That's my take on it. But I would, and I know that there's another request for a lighting plan too. The site is illuminated today. We're not increasing, you know, the impervious. These areas are already lit. So we do have to go to Akabor for the architectural appearance of the building, of course. But I would ask that we get the board grant a waiver from a landscaping and lighting plan, you know, formally. If you want to see what they have in mind for some, you know, beautification landscaping in front of the building, we can certainly add that to the plan or a note to that effect. I don't have a problem with that either.
And then I don't really have any other comments. Obviously, you got to get the drainage
Thank you
and
very much.
issues with the sanitary line.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just where it's located.
Yeah.
We're just going to move it over 5 feet.
And I think it's too bad that you didn't keep the gymnasium. I think basketball courts bring young people, so.
It would, the cost is the big thing, and fundraising, I needed to be able to say these are the need to haves and not the want to haves. I so badly want a basketball court.
That's my only other statement. Okay.
Thank you. Mike?
Yeah, just a couple of questions. I don't know if I'm getting feedback.
No,
That's,
good.
that's good, thanks, okay. Okay, the hydrant's taken care of. On the second gate there, the south gate, that's broken, is that gonna be repaired?
So right now, it's just opened manually, right, your gate?
No, not the front gate, the second gate. In other words, you got the main gate, you go in on
Yeah.
the north side of the property, but as you're going down south, you
Yeah.
have a second gate, yeah.
Yeah,
That has a chain link on it, but it's a little bit off, it's,
Actually, a third entrance.
that's the third?
Yeah.
All the way
All the
down
way down.
below. There's
No,
there's
I-
a chain link on the second entrance. The gates we usually close, but that's to keep like the kids with the dirt bikes out.
Yeah,
And you can just lift it and open the gate.
okay, and that goes right on to the
Yeah, it opens. right
paved area?
up. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I didn't notice that, because I noticed the other gate, because you should have at least two entrances for safety.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, okay, I was looking at the email from Matthew Shook. There were three of them, comments back and forth, February 2nd, 3rd, and the 18th. And he was worried about the view from the Palisades Interstate Parkway. He thought it maybe need more landscaping for a screening, but he wasn't sure since he never really put it in. So the slats sound like a good idea to protect for the lighting, though I would definitely concur with Palisades Parkway to see that they have no objection to put it on paper, so,
we do have the email from them with no comments from
Yeah.
February.
well,
But-
there's three things. He was worried in
Yeah.
the one that it might, he was worried about the view from the PIP. But if, with the parking there, the lights are gonna be shining towards the PRP.
Right.
And that could cause a distraction to the drivers. The road is bad enough as it is without adding.
It could, there are parking spaces that face that way today, and the Palisades Parkway is at a much lower elevation.
Right.
So I don't think,
What's the elevation there? I think it's a little,
well, as you go further north on the property, it gets closer up, but where
Right.
these are, we're gonna be like pretty much higher than the Palisades Parkway, like where the people are driving. So I don't think you're gonna see them. I think the privacy slats is a good
yeah,
way
that's
to
what I'm saying,
do
but
it. So
I would
that's,
suggest you talk to them or see whose property it's on at
Yeah.
least. So it's sort of
yeah.
a battle with them on
That's fair.
that, okay. And that was about it, except for the drainage reports.
So.
I have no further on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna just touch on that for a minute. So there were 4 other items originally scheduled on this agenda tonight. 3 of those, my office conducted the drainage review for. Those were sent to the town Tuesday, July 7th at 5:38 PM. That's the night before the PRC meeting. You have in your files here the date of the letter from the drainage consultant for our project, which we got Monday afternoon at 12:17 PM. It gives us no time to do anything. Since I've been the drainage review consultant, or the primary drainage review consultant, I was the alternate for many years before that, I've spoken to Rick Oliver and gotten his permission to also allow the applicants to contact me directly if they want to go through the memo we've written. I do not try to hold things up. It's unfair to the client to spend all their time and money and submit something in May to get the review letter 2 days before the meeting. It gives us no opportunity to do anything. That's what PRC is supposed to be for. Mr. Mandel goes all the time. We try to work out the technical issues at that spot. If we lose that opportunity, now it's unfair to everybody here because we're wasting our time. It's also, frankly, to me, unprofessional. We have a standard as engineers. We have an obligation to do things that we're hired to do. They're not meeting that. None of their comments I object to, but also they do not materially change the design that is before you. I'm going to add some elevations for them. I'm going to clarify some things in the narrative, and I'm going to update a few numbers so that the plan matches the detail, matches the report, matches the narrative, matches the comment response. But it does not change the design that's before you today. I understand you rely on that professional consultant's opinion, and that's why I take the time when I write the letters for you to be considerate of all those things, especially the time. So, I I do not object to the comments at all. I object to their conclusion, and I would ask that the board consider allowing us to have a path forward, because this severely hinders the church. Because even if I was coming here tonight hoping to get preliminary and final site plan approval with conditional for Akabor. Even if we were to do that, the meeting minutes for this meeting would not be certified until the next planning board meeting, which is August 26th, as I understand it. We need that to be able to appear before Akabor, which at the earliest would be, I think, September 15th or 17th, somewhere around there. That puts us perilously close to the end of the year when we are trying to start construction and get things done, because the church, as mentioned before, has been at this a long time. It's been a labor of love and also need for them, for their community. They are finally at a place where they are growing again, and they've been fundraising. They have subcontractors lined up. The architect's been at this a long time. They have general contractor lined up. We've, every step of the way, met with the fire inspector, met with the engineer, tried to address the comments. We reached out to Veolia. They're willing to help us. If we get bumped further than that, the subcontractors, which out of their obligation to the church has been holding on, but they can't hold on forever. And if they walk, they have to go bid the job again. The prices are going to be higher, and they're going to get delayed again. They're going to have to raise more money. So I understand, the consultant's memo, but I'm asking the board tonight, and I'm willing to offer up potential solutions that you can consider, but I'm asking the board to consider that tonight, because we're in a spot now, the church, that is very, very difficult, with a letter that we get 2 days before and gives us no options, no outs. I have some outs to propose. If you'll hear them, I'm just asking you to hear them.
The problem is, none of us are engineers. So what the report, we're relying on this report. Whether it's right or wrong, we have to rely on this. All I can do is refer it to our legal department. I don't know if we can do anything. I really can't, because it's. I understand your position, and you know what, personally? Okay, but I don't have to say it. But
I understand.
we're put in the position.
If I may, Mr. Peters' memo does not call into question whether or not the stormwater works, right? He has a few comments, and he's agreed that this design intent is the path forward. So, and this, what I would ask is, a couple of things, or potentially, right, a couple of options, and I'm kind of laying a few of these out. Let me know what you think. Obviously, Mr. Picola's input is going to be invaluable here. I would ask that we get, I would love to get preliminary and final with conditions, and I will address those concerns. I understand if that's a bridge too far. What I would ask in the interim is a preliminary approval that would allow us to go to Akabor with the understanding that if we could even be placed on the August 26th agenda, and I get you all of the information, next week, and then hopefully we can have a clean letter for final at that point for the August meeting. I know there's a bunch of applications in the queue and things like that, but what I'm trying to do is have it so that when we have Akabor, we could have Akabor in September. That's kind of my goal as like the last stop. If it's something where it's preliminary, and then next in August, you certify the minutes, we appear before Akabor in September, and we can also appear before you again in September for final, that timing, could work out. But if we're going into October where we're having a meeting and then we have to wait for meeting minutes after that to be able to then pull permits, it really hurts us. So if we could get, a preliminary tonight or even if we could go, I'm just talking out the options here. Even if it was, well, because we have this letter, we can't give you approval, but you can go to Akabor for the building, right? That way, those minutes could be certified in August. We could go to Akabor, and then we could be back here for preliminary and final in September with everything cleaned up. I'm just throwing out the different, I don't know if you can let us go to Akabor. If you close seeker, I think we could go to Akabor.
Did you speak to the consultants at all?
I tried to give him a call, but unreturned.
Sir.
There is a lot to talk about. I guess one issue with Akabor, let's start there. I mean, the reason why usually, or always, I would say, that you want preliminary is because if you don't have preliminary, there may be changes that are made. And you go to Akabor and changes are made here, you got to go back to Akabor. That didn't gain you anything. This board, however, can waive Akabor. They have done that in the past, so that could save you some time. With regard to the drainage, the problem is that sets a huge precedent.
It is. It's setting precedent.
And I've
which we
been
don't wanna
a
do.
legal advisor for this board for about 10 years, and not a single time have they done SECRA. And the reason is, when you do SECRA, you're basically saying that we have everything that we need to adequately do SECRA. And as you probably know, a lot of things are not that important necessarily for SECRA, or perhaps you can overlook it, but drainage. Drainage is very important in Orangetown, very important in general. And we have a report from our expert. Again, no one here is an engineer or drainage expert. You are, and you make a very good case. I'm not saying that anything that you said is inaccurate. And you're perhaps right that there's no issues with this, and if you were able to speak with them, they would have okayed it. But the problem is we have a written document saying that they need more information from you. It's going to be very hard for this board to do SECRA, and if they don't do SECRA, they can't give preliminary.
I mean, Akabor, right, I'm asking for a waiver from the landscaping and lighting because the site is landscaped and lit, right? Is the board okay with that? And I'm just getting there because obviously Akabor for the building is not something that this board typically reviews, right? And I understand, this is not just a shed going in somebody's backyard. So I understand why Akabor should review the architecture of the building. I don't think, excuse me, there's anything on here that is going to change the site plan, considerably, nor that would then change if we're not going to Akabor for landscaping and lighting and it's strictly the building, then the site plan changing doesn't affect Akabor's review or decision because it's just the building, it's just the architecture of the building. So if there's a way for us to still do that, or, I know there's the mechanism, because I was communicating with Audrey earlier, or throughout this process about going to Akabor, that's why I'm familiar with those dates, but we really need like the certification, because that's a Akabor checklist requirement. Right. But if they, I guess, so I have a separate question. If there was an application before the town that did not require site plan approval, but required Akabor approval, how would that be handled? Because then they wouldn't be getting a.
It would be a denial
would be the planning board. Understood.
Can we allow them to go to Akabor without preliminary?
Can we
I would say
waive
that is
Akapor?
Only in the discretion of the building department. We have an acting with us today. But I would say that's within their discretion if they think that's allowed by the code. But then there is the danger that when you come back here, there's a change, and then you would have to go back. It would be all for naught.
But what if we waived Akabor? I mean, there's four
that's a
members here
consideration,
on the
too.
board.
I
who
believe the
were
town
Akabor.
code authorizes you to do that, and this
We've done
board
it
does
before.
like to look at
We've
landscaping
done that
plans
before.
and has some expertise, so that's something you could do.
I mean, so this has come up before, this is an issue that's come up before, that applicants are getting comments, 2 days before a meeting, which is not acceptable. What's the internal process in our department? If we know something's coming up and we don't have their comments yet, is there a way that we try to get them?
Yeah, so with Jesse, I followed up last week, probably early to midweek, and that's when I got the response on Friday. I didn't work Friday, so I
Yeah.
apologize for you
No,
not
that's-
getting it Friday. But then I got it, Monday, and then I sent it to Jesse as soon as I could on Monday, in order for him to have it.
No, and look,
I'm not saying, I'm not blaming
yeah,
you.
yeah, and I agree.
I'm just wondering what the process was, yeah.
Follow up after PRC to make sure that we could get the comments ahead of, at least this week.
Yeah,
for
that was
Jesse to-
that was the discussion we had at PRC, because I was hopefully setting the table to be able to do that tonight. And Rick was like, well, the drainage memo is the key, and so Audrey and I have been following up. Now, that's the point of PRC, in my opinion, right, is to have those letters at that point and to be able to have the discussion there, and then also make the decision. If we can't move forward, then we're not wasting people's time tonight. But we got them on Monday. I was a lot hotter under the collar than I am right now, but I still wanted to come tonight and have the conversation with you, because if there is a way, and look, I think Mr. Carey maybe said it, like, if we go to Akabor and you let us and things change, that's on us, right? If we can't get the thing done and we have to fix it or whatever, that's on us. I'm not asking you to give us, preliminary site plan approval or something, but if there's a way that you can refer us to Akabor while we address these, particularly stormwater comments, but there's other comments here which I've already mapped out on this plan here for some of the bulk table information, right, to prove that is fine as well. So, I have been before this board many a times. We are going to address all those comments 100%. We're just asking to maybe, the timeline here, help us out a little bit. If we can go to Akabor, if there's some mechanism for that, where we can do that sooner than later, even if it's like, yeah, this is tonight, and then these minutes get done and we're on in Akabor in September. My intention is to get our stuff done next week, regardless of the decision you make here tonight, so that we could be on for planning board meeting in September too, assuming Akabor goes well. So I'm gonna be working on my end to make it happen. I owe that to, my client, and that's my intention. So if there's a way we can do that, it would be greatly appreciated. I know there's still other members to speak in the public, so.
Let me pull the board a second.
Let's wait till.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, we'll wait until after the public comments.
Understood.
All right, Matt, question or comments?
Yeah, just one question. You very adequately described the activities that are going on in church. There's no other additional activities planned, like outside of what you described, such as like renting out the facility to other groups, things like that?
Right now, we do rent out our hall oftentimes.
Okay.
At least a couple times a month, I would say, where there are our coffee hour hall, like underneath the church. And it's just that people can come in and like have a baptism reception or a mercy meal, like after a funeral.
Yeah.
Downstairs, and they come in, they bring their things, and they clean up. They actually clean up after. So we do that. In the new hall, in the new building, we don't want to have any. We actually don't like doing that. We don't want to rent that. It started with just friends and parishioners wanting to do that, and then we said, okay, well, we can do that. But in the new building, one use that we may use right now, we have a Greek festival once a year. Many of you probably know about it. We do it in first weekend of June, and during the Greek festival, There's like a small tent that's gonna not be able to be put where it is, so we're gonna have to adjust that somehow. So those, that would be something that's changing, but really, there's nothing, with the new building that I didn't explain, and then, Bible study, sometimes we do a movie night,
Yeah, but all the activities that you already normally do, it's not like news, okay, that's
Oh,
all.
yeah, nothing, we're actually gonna probably do, the exact same things, just better, I hope.
Gotcha, that's good, thank you.
Dave, question or comments?
I took a look at the property from Google Maps, and I see there's a large tree line along the Palisades, and there's already trees in place through the parking lots. My only question is, the project, is that gonna impact the community that's already there in any way we haven't thought of? Maybe haven't brought up, maybe something you haven't mentioned?
I mean, to my knowledge, no, I think I did discuss, the meetings we had, the fire inspector in Veolia. It's gonna allow us to put a public hydrant further north on the road here, which is a benefit to the community, you know, not a detriment or anything. As Father mentioned, the operations are staying the same. The stormwater wholly fits in the basins that are there. There's no new lights going in. The only parking that we're adding is, again, along the back, along that heavily forested tree line. So I don't see it. The building does not require any variances, right? So we don't need zoning board. We don't have a height issue or anything like that. So I can't think of any.
The Palisades is about, I don't have a good maybe sense of, distance, but 60, 70 feet kind of a drop down there, kind of behind where that,
Yeah.
where the back is. And then it slowly like converges, maybe, a couple 100 feet up at the, towards the corner of our property where it comes up. And the fire hydrant was a something to swallow and something to fundraise for when, David, the fire
Yeah.
inspector? And, but we chose actually the more expensive route, which is to have it on the right of way. Just because we thought that was the cleanest, and it actually puts all of the surrounding houses within the code.
Service
I don't know
area
how
of the
we had
hydrant,
built
yeah.
Without doing, but now it's gonna be in the service road, for the emergency access for the whole community, so it will affect them, but in a very, I hope, positive way.
Positive influence, okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Matt, anything?
We're not drainage engineers, but would you mind just walking through some of the comments, just so we get a sense of the magnitude of what potentially,
Sure.
with the understanding that we're not.
Yeah, not a problem. So essentially, his first set of comments really just he has numbers, right? So number one is really just some grading discrepancies between what is essentially an older plan and a new plan, the location of the catch basins, and reconciling those on, the sheets in our set. So he notes like S1 and S2 are not updated based on, where the parking spaces are. So that's.
It's not the function of, it's just housekeeping on the.
Correct. He has a comment about, and I think Lisa brought this up, the pump station that goes around. We have a stormwater feature like directly on top of where the pipe is for that. So we're just gonna move one of them over so that they're not on top of each other. He talks about the grading being shown outside the limited disturbance. He's looking at, or I should, it's on one sheet, it's in the limited disturbance, on the other, we just have to fix that line between the two sheets. One of our notes references a SWIP. The SWIP is not required for this project, so I just have to say in accordance with the New York State regulations instead. He wants another detail for a type of inlet. He wants another manhole detail, a conversion detail, some general notes. I don't know, one of the sheets maybe he didn't get, but it has some cross sections for the basins that we're proposing. And then his next set of comments are on the drainage report itself, mostly as it relates to, and I think this is where we could do a better job of making things clear, because typical drainage is talked about from a pre-construction and post-construction conditions. In this case, because we're relying on or utilizing the basins that were previously approved, we have like a pre-existing condition from that point, right? So before 2004, when the parking lot expansion was not proposed and those basins were not built, there was an existing condition. Now the basins have been built, but that extra parking lot has not been built. So that's existing conditions today, but existing conditions before 2004 were different. And we're providing a comparison of before 2004, today, and then what we hope to build. And so, as I'm explaining it, you could tell it's a little bit confusing, right? Because we have 3 different conditions that we're comparing. And the numbers that were used in 2004 are different than the numbers you're required to use in 2026 because of the stormwater rainfalls. So we have multiple tables and multiple descriptions in our report that says, here was 2004 existing and proposed. Here's 2026, old, today, future, and then here it is again with the 2026 numbers, because we wanted to show, after speaking with Mr. Peters, the town engineer, that yes, those basins were good for 2004, but they're also good for 2026. So his comments on our drainage report narrative really just deal with tying all of those pieces together, in my opinion. He has one comment in appendix, his comment number 6 on his page 2, appendix 7 about one of the outlet pipes. That's just an elevation discrepancy we have to add to the plan to clear it up. So that's really what it is. I can understand because it is confusing with the comparison that we provided, and we will make it abundantly clear. And that's what, if I had gotten the letter 2 weeks ago, I would have hoped to at least work out over the phone and or with like an email correspondence to the, to the consulting engineer and then copying the town, of course, so.
Bruce, questions or comments?
No, I'd just like to see a way that we can way back in the order.
Okay. Yeah, sure, Mike wants, go ahead.
Just one more question. In front of the building, there's a, I guess to the south of the building, we're gonna be doing the new extension. There's a macadam area, and there's a water pipe that opens up there. Is that being moved, or?
When you say water pipe.
Yeah, in other words, there's a water, there's a, there's,
pipe?
no, it's probably something about 2 feet long, about 4 feet, 2 feet long, about 4 inches wide. It's a little,
Oh, like a hose spigot or something?
that's it, the one that opens up. Is that being moved? Because I don't see it on the plans.
Yes.
It's gonna be moved?
Yes, that whole area is going to be excavated, and it's a hallway that connects the 2 buildings.
Right, that's what I figured, because we were there today, and I'm looking at it, I'm going, what is this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, because we do have to do, the new layout is gonna create, a little bit of a courtyard between the 2 buildings as
Right.
well. So, yes, we've been working with Orange and Rockland as well, because that all has to get coordinated.
Oh, okay.
It's shown on our plans, but
Okay,
that
all
has to be
right.
worked out too.
To make a note, or I don't know, whatever, so we don't have to go through that at
Yeah.
the future. Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else, questions on the board? All right, open up, the motion to open to the public,
Motion to open public portion?
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, okay, anybody from the public wish to speak on this project? Yes, step up, please. State your name and address for the record, please. State, up to the microphone. I don't think the mic is on.
She's got it,
Is a button on it?
I can try louder. All right. Pellegrina Mazzocchi, 27 Olmaya Drive in West Nyack, which is right across the street. And the biggest question I have is, I know you want to make a community center, and I understand that. What about if you decide tomorrow to turn it into a school? Pre-K, kindergarten? I'm not saying, elementary school or anything else, but what about pre-K? Who's to stop you from doing that? And the foot traffic that's going to be on that block is going to be horrendous, to be honest.
she's gonna ask the board the question, so, okay. Anything else,
So,
ma'am?
is there a way to say legally that they can't do pre-K or kindergarten in the area? That is just used for classrooms to teach religion, to have a youth night once the building is up? What's to stop them from doing anything?
Usually, we allow all the speakers to speak, then we answer the questions. If we do this, it ends up taking a lot longer.
Okay, do me a favor, please, sign in over here, okay? Does anybody else wish to speak on this? Yes, sir. State your name and address for the record, please.
It's Robert Mazzecchi, 27 Almaya Drive, her husband. And I didn't know she was going to speak. Question I have, Father, I'll direct it to you.
No, it's
Oh,
to the board.
I'll direct it to the
Questions
board. Okay, that's fine. Father said that most of the ongoing activities in that basement of church, after church activities, after funerals, we were there during the feast, and we got a very different impression. There's a full kitchen downstairs, and we got the impression from the people who work there that they're actually using that almost as a catering hall. So they've even had weddings there. So if it's going to become a commercial entity, that's not zoned as a commercial entity. And I got to be honest with you, I don't want a catering hall across the street from my house. All right. So we need to make sure that that's done. I trust Father, but I'm getting two different stories. I got a story from him tonight, and I got a very different story from his people the night of the feast. Right. And there are events going on Fridays and Saturday nights where they park in the back. That they may be parishioners, I can't tell, but I certainly don't want this to develop into a full-blown catering hall. Right? I'll sign in.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, anyone else wish to speak on this? Yes, ma'am. Go up, state your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Catherine Bezecki, Catherine with a C. I am a current resident or homeowner, 26 Rennie Lane in Blauvelt, but I'm their daughter, and I have lived there for, 22 years before. I just do want to urge the board to make sure that this goes to Akbar. I'm just a regular person, but from what I understand, that board elevates buildings' designs to ensure that they fit the community's character. My family has Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner, and we look at the beautiful church. The mosaics that you guys have done, they're beautiful, and I want to make sure that the new addition has, is in a similar vibe, maybe, if this were to go through. I think it's a really important part. Maybe we're one family, but we're going to be looking at it every holiday, so I do want to urge you to make sure that happens.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else wish to speak on this? One more time. Anybody else wish to speak on this? All right, motion closed,
Motion to close public portion.
second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay. I don't know. Oh, okay. What are some of the legal questions in respect to the school and the catering hall?
As far as the use, obviously, as a church, we expect, and it's within the use to have Bible study, to have weddings there and things like that. That's expected. Every church does that. To have the church sell it, to example, for a school or have a school there, that would be a different use, and they would have to come back to the building department. So you are protected against a completely different use like that. As far as how it's going to be used, the father had spoken to that. If you want to address that question, and the reason we have you address the board is sometimes these meetings get very heated, and if the public is speaking to the applicant, sometimes they end up yelling at each other. So we always have anyone speak to the board, and then we can ask the questions. But Father, if you can address that second question about it being used for more than what you said it was being used for.
The school, I just want to make sure, because we do have classes, and we do like kind of an afternoon, like, we call it a Greek school, we call it religious school. I guess it's not a day school, but it, you know, it's, I thought that was within our, functionality. That's like the main thing that we're trying to do.
Yes,
to take
I
us out of
believe
the
that is
social
allowed.
hall into the classrooms. But is that not within our?
No, I think what the speaker was speaking about is like if you sell it to a different school and it's used as like a pre-K or a kindergarten school outside of the scope of the church.
Yeah, we have no intent, we don't want to rent anything. We want to build, because a lot of the conversation with the gymnasium actually was, well, this could make us a lot of money, because you can rent the gym. A lot of churches, but I also said, well, we can rent one of the Roman Catholic gyms for like $100 a night. It's not an essential, and we don't want to just build a business. But one thing, we don't want to do like a rented daycare, but if we do more classes, we would be thrilled. We're hoping that people keep coming and people keep jumping up for the rental of the hall, though. Do you want to speak to that? I mean, you manage it.
Let me
really.
just clarify here. The word catering hall was brought up. There is a kitchen there that we use for our own functions. We rent out that bottom room to parishioners, to people out in the community. We don't even advertise it. It's all word of mouth that it's available if somebody wants to use that facility. We do not cook. We just collect the rent. If they want to bring in food, it's not like we're running a catering business. It's just open for rent. Our parishioners are friends of theirs, or people in the community that heard that we've hosted quinceaneras, 50th birthday parties, 90-year-old birthday parties. But it's not, we're not, I don't consider running a catering hall business.
Mike, anything else?
Father,
There was the last comment, if we could, we have the plans. Do you want to see them? Like, we have the renderings. Is that something like, you know, for the design to see, you know, for you or the public? From the outside, and then from, like, you know, what's included in them?
That was with the question, with the person that said they would like it to go to Akabor.
yeah, we can't.
If you want to show, but I don't know if the board's going to be voting on, certainly not final tonight.
Okay.
Oh, definitely not, no.
Conforms with the structure of the church itself, with the arches. It just continues along the way. And one thing I want to point out when we talk about landscaping, one of the things that we did, there is a stone feature in the front of the building. It's just costing us, it's natural stone, cut natural stone, to give it that old, church vibe. We don't want to put bushes in front of it, obviously. So that's why we hesitate on doing any kind of a formal landscaping plan, because I think you see in this rendering, there are some bushes here that cover the stone. We said, oh, why are we paying all this money for this stone if we're going to be covering it? So we try to keep the look of the church the way it is, with the hall to the left. This whole area, the main entrance is right here. The church entrance is over there. Just to give you a brief, and the bottom floor, as we said, is just classrooms and a multi-purpose room for the kids to, a little rec room basically, plus the classrooms. As Father mentioned, the hall now, they're all modular units down there. We cram 12 kids into this 10 by 20 room, and if another kid comes to the class, we hope someone's missing, because we can't squeeze 13 in there. And these classrooms fit about 20 kids each. So it's nice, a beautiful facility for the kids. The upper level, one thing I want to say, when we talk about this is basically the community center. The bottom floor, we're looking at the education center, because there's all the classroom for the kids. The top floor is what we're considering our community center, because we do have a small event room. We have no intentions of renting that. One of the complaints we have from our own parishioners is that they can't use our own hall if it might be booked. So this at least is, it only holds maybe 75 people. It was built for 75 people with a little dance floor maybe. You could squeeze 100 in there if you had to. But mostly it's the hall downstairs. If I have 5 people for a meeting, I got to heat and cool the entire 7,000 square feet downstairs. more functional to what we want to do.
Yeah, Martha? Go ahead, Mike. Just to clarify, the classes that you're holding there now, we're talking, I think it wasn't clarified, we're talking about like the CDC classes, religious instructions for kids to come in, or are we talking about a pre-K, pre-K where they come 5 days a week, that they're babysat or they're taught or whatever?
No, we don't have the staff but no, I mean the afternoon program, it's religious, but there's also cultural things and
Right.
and social things.
Right,
Not like a day program.
right, okay, all right, thank you.
What's the
Tom,
earliest meeting we could get them back on, Audrey? Well, I'm wondering what the earliest meeting we can get them back on.
What is that date? And would, if we're, Akabor would be like the following week, like the 16th or something, or the 15th?
That's the earliest that I could put you on if you would have gotten anything today.
Right.
For the certification of the minutes and all that. So if we were to wait until the first meeting of September and get you on the following available after the board, you're probably looking at.
So I guess, is there a way for us to be at Akabor on September 16th, like right now? Like if I know it was like up to, the acting building inspector to say, yeah, they go to Akabor. Obviously, that's at our risk, right? If the site plan changes, then that's kaput, right? But as I've said, and I'm 99.9% confident that the site plan is not changing, right? From a design standpoint, yeah, there's going to be notes, like obviously there's going to be revisions to it, but it's not going to change from a. From who?
From the county at all. Because that's the big thing is that
Yeah. No, so the county letter, I don't have any issue with their comments. I just had one question, and it was for this board and in how they handle those comments, because the only one that I saw that was, addressing things was the handicap parking, like we spoke about, which we have no problem doing, and then the slats in the fence, for that. They do have two comments about urging the town to, ask us to put in EV charging stations and alternative energy. With the phrasing there, is that a override situation, or is that just, we'll consider it, but thanks, but no thanks? On the county letter, it's on page 2 of 3, comments number 12 and 13. Yeah. Okay. So then I don't intend to push back or change anything. I'm going to comply with their comments about the parking and it's just striping for the spaces.
So my biggest thing is that if it doesn't need a new GML review because only addressing the drainage, then the 30 days I don't necessarily need.
Mm-hmm.
I would just need enough time to publish and notify the neighbors.
Yeah.
Unless we announce a date today, then I don't have to do that either.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on the board and if you feel they're ready to go for the August meeting, and then it's just drainage that they are continuing for. So we
Mhm.
the certification of the. However, it does at least help that you don't have to wait 30 minutes.
Right.
But that's legally.
Yeah, I would say the only time we have to recirculate for GML is if there's substantial, kind of like there's going to be substantial.
Yeah.
To me, it sounds like your best road.
Because then we would, and just playing this out, and thank you for indulging me in this conversation. We could come back on the 26th, assuming it's all addressed, we would get referred to ACABOR. The minutes would then be certified on September 9th. And so then the ACABOR would be October 14th or something, or 13th, whatever it is.
So it would be October 8th is the first October meeting of.
ACABOR.
So.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know the construction stuff, but our contractor was very frustrated when he heard, they're from Long Island, and they've built a couple churches there, or in the community centers, and they didn't realize that the ACABOR would need to wait till September. They thought planning board, July, and they made a really big deal about that and said, we got to talk to the subcontractors right away. When we, maybe 2 weeks ago, we got the email like September 16th would be the first ACABOR. And it sounded like that was really not, like really difficult to accomplish. And it sounds like that would push over the edge and not allow foundations to be laid.
I would make a suggestion that you include a very thorough landscaping plan and then ask that ACABOR be waived. You may get it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just because ACABOR is waived doesn't mean that the appearance is not considered.
Yeah.
When ACABOR is waived, this board takes the job of ACABOR and looks at the appearance and makes sure that
Okay.
landscaping is appropriate.
Okay. Okay. So we would request to go to adjourn to a date certain. Oh, yeah.
I want to poll the board in respect to waiving ACABOR. Andy?
I think what we're.
You said that you have the option of.
Yeah, I think it's problematic to vote on anything like that if you don't do SECRA. And also, yeah, I think you want to do preliminary and waive ACABOR at the same time. Waiving it now, I don't know if that's the appropriate way to go.
But that's what I was gonna,
So he's asking for continuation to the next meeting? Can we do that? If he asks for that?
Tom,
Can you get ready for
1000%.
hey, Tom, hold on one second. I just wanted, if you could get everything done by the next meeting in August, I think at that time, we would be able to waive ACABOR at that time.
Right.
And I believe that we would be responsible enough to do that because there's 4 members of this board who came from ACABOR. I'm
Okay.
one of them who was chairman of ACABOR. So I'm sure that if we saw anything that we didn't like, we would let you know.
So what we would do is we would then include architectural plans and a landscaping plan with our, revisions for the drainage. And I'll pick up some of the other comments too, like, they're nothing major. So, so that when we're here, if we go to the date certain, when would you need our materials by for that? Because you're not circulating for the 30 days again? Yep.
If I could have it by the first week of August,
Mhm.
PRC for that meeting is the 12th.
Yeah, my goal would be the end of next week, the 31st. Yep.
So then let's just call it the 31st.
Yep.
And then that way I have, if you'd like to go again, and then also.
Just a question, do you want the same materials that were going to be submitted to Agabor, because that's all ready to go? Okay, just bring them, okay.
Right. We're,
Does the architect come?
Yeah.
yeah, we can have them come next month.
If we don't have the plans submitted, as she said,
Yeah.
we can't use them to make a decision.
Yep.
Okay, so that's why it has to be in by that date. All right, otherwise,
They're sitting in a box ready to go.
but
But
you
totally.
you gotta definitely talk to the drainage consultant.
That's my
Because if
intention.
they say no, it's, we're back to zero again.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right.
So when you request your continuance.
Yep.
For a drainage review.
Yes. So with that, we request a continuance to August 26th for a drainage review. All right. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the time and consideration.
The whole thing is crazy, but nice job. Yeah.
Oh, for all those who want to know, they'll be back again August 26th to start all over again. Okay, with hopefully all the
Hopefully not start
paperwork.
all over again.
Okay.
We're going to be here to finish.
Okay, application is St. Peter's, the St. Paul's Church site.
I just want to put this one up here.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you guys. I hope you get it done. You know, I want to see it. I drive by all the time.
Now I can say it, I pushed the button. Good evening. What can we do for you guys? Did everybody sign in? Thank you very much.
Okay, we were here several months ago to the informal, and at that point, we got a fairly positive feedback, so we're back with an actual formal application. Basically, what we're looking to do is add an addition to an existing church building. We're planning on spending about 1,400 square feet of space to the east with a basement, increasing the congregation seating area from 90 to 144, adding handicap bathrooms, elevator, meeting room, and a mother's room overlooking the sanctuary, and just updating the building. It was built as a dentist's office, so there's been a lot of compromises in there, so we're looking to totally revamp the building. I brought some little drawings to show you what we're, let me pass those. Several sets. This is proposed. looking to do. Since the PRC, we've gone through some of the comments. One of the major ones was from Rick Oliver regarding the use group. We had the improper use group, so that's been corrected. And I have copies of the amended site plan with the proper bulk, if you want to pass those out. That's also up on the board over there. No, just now, yeah. We just, I just wanted to show you what the numbers were. So basically, we just got some of their feedback today, so we're still working on the changes. So basically, we have a lot to go through before we come back to you in terms of comments. So I guess at this point, this is more of an introduction than anything else, just to let you know what we're doing, see if you had any questions we could address next time.
Are you done, or you have more of a presentation, you want me to go through the consultant's report?
Why don't you do the consultants, I guess?
I'm sorry, thank you. A letter from Orangetown ZBA, signed Rick Albert, July 6, 16 comments. Orangetown DME, Bruce Peters, July 10th, 11 comments. I have a letter from Orangetown Fire Department, Fire District, June 19th, with 1 comment. Orangetown Planning Review Consultant Paul DeGans, dated June 24th, with 5 comments. I have a letter, July 22nd, from Weston Sampson, and it says, "The information provided is insufficient to demonstrate that any potential significant adverse impact with increased stormwater runoff would be adequately mitigated. Therefore, accordingly, drainage approval is not recommended at this time pending submission of additional supporting information." And they have right now 8 comments, or 5 comments, rather. I have a letter from Rockland County Department of Planning dated June 29th with 10 comments. I have another letter from Rockland County Center of Environmental Health dated July 7th, 1 comment. I have an email from Orange and Rockland, Alfred Gaddy, June 28th, gas conflicts. I have a referral sheet from Rockland County Department of Planning dated June 5th, comments attached. I have a consent letter from Rockland County Department of Planning dated June 15th, consenting Town of Orangetown Planning Board serve as lead agent. I have a short EAF form prepared by Thomas Manners dated May 4th. And I have a narrative prepared by George Kadash Associates dated May 1st. Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, Andy, questions or comments?
I don't have any questions or comments at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. Lisa, questions or comments?
No, I think the design looks really nice, and there's obviously a lot of things you have to come back to us with, so.
Okay, thank you. Mike, questions or comments?
Nothing really. What can we do? Just looking at the Weston Sampson drainage review. July 22nd, is it today? July 22nd, I think, isn't it?
It is, I got it at 3 or 4.
This is, can we stop using them if they're gonna continue to hand in stuff? We told them we wanted it, when we put out the bid, did we not ask that they submit these documents at least by the Friday before the meeting? And if so, can we say something to them about if this continues, that they're in violation of the contract?
And we'll look for someone else if that's what you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, this board can change whoever you use whenever you want to if you're unhappy with what's happening. I do suggest perhaps a warning. Do you authorize Audrey to communicate that?
Authorize her?
Write a letter and send a draft so that everyone gets.
Make sure the chairman agrees with it, and then,
Yeah.
Chairman, do you want to sign
I
it?
think
or-
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay.
Because this is the first year they're doing it, because we had problem with the previous consultant report, where we weren't getting it until the last minute. So it's extremely unfair to the client.
This is the same.
You know, the
consultant
applicants.
who's giving us a hard time. Yes, this is fantastic. So, I agree.
Make your job harder too, because it's awesome.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, today I had to email them saying, you know, project's on tonight. Send it, if you did, can you please resend it, because I don't have it.
So if you hadn't sent that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had a drainage review for you for today.
Right, plus they did not, according to Jesse, they didn't even answer his phone call. So, with the previous, well, Colliers, we couldn't get Colliers in this case, since it would have been,
For Jesse, we couldn't,
yeah.
because that would be.
But I think we should, in the meantime, we could send that letter out to them, but we should probably work more with Colliers, since they get, at least they get the reports in earlier. This way, we can make a proper decision.
You write a letter, I'll come in and sign it. Okay, not a problem.
Thank you. I have no other
We
comments.
apologize to you folks, because it's putting you in a bind, and it puts us in a bind too. You
Sorry, just a larger version of what's there now. The church, there's a meeting room downstairs. Basically, just an expansion of the congregation, more seating.
and about how many people are in the congregation?
We're going to accommodate,
36 families, 3 to 4 people each per family.
yeah, so we're accommodating 144 seats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dave, anything?
Just piggyback on what he was saying, you're not going to expand upon the blueprint of the lot itself, the building is going to go from upwards to maybe
No.
slightly outward.
The building, this entire section is an addition.
Okay.
But there's parking here now, so as far as the pervious surface and everything, there isn't much.
You said a dentist office prior?
I believe prior to 2014.
Okay, Matt? Bruce? No. Okay, thank you. Motion to open up the public, please?
Motion to open public portion?
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, anybody from the public wish to speak on this? One more time, anybody from the public? Okay, motion to close?
Mo-
Close public portion, second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Again, we have this problem with drainage.
Oh.
I don't know what, we can't do anything for, that's the problem.
We just want the opportunity to update our plans and come back before you.
Yes,
That's all we can do, really.
because I think everybody sees, he was very impressed with it. And at this point, I'm hoping the best for you, and that's all I can say.
I appreciate that. In actuality, I mean, there's very little change in the runoff and anything on the site, almost no change in grading. But the parking lot's already fully established, and like I said, we're building on part of the parking lot that we don't need. So Stacy should be able to accommodate and address all of the concerns.
So you're gonna ask for continuance?
Yes, please.
You gotta
Oh.
ask me.
May we have a continuance to the next available meeting? Well, not, we have to get we have a GML, I guess, so. Okay, so we don't have to set a date right now, just request a continuance. Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Good luck with it. Next is drive site plan, ED 26-30.
Now is it on? There we go. Electrical engineer, I can't figure out. Peter Skay, S-K-A-E. I'm here for 15 Corporate Drive, Orangeburg. We, sorry. We have probably 8 active permits at the site right now, so I'm on a mission to try to actually get them all sorted out. Unfortunately, it seems like I made a mistake when I did. I submitted the plans which included the site plan. It went to the IUC, but somehow the board here and the PRC didn't get the site plans. So all of the comments said there was no site plan approval. So I'm just here tonight to ask for a continuance to the next meeting. Because now I've, yeah.
I'll go through the consultant's report.
Sure, sure.
This way I have a letter from Orangetown ZBA, Rick Oliver, dated July 6th. 3 comments. Orangetown DME, Bruce Peters, July 10th, 1 comment. Orangetown Fire, July 3rd, 1 comment. Orangetown Plan Review, Paul Gans, dated June 24th, 4 comments. Orangetown Drainage Consultant, Collier Engineering, July 7th, 1 comment. Emails from Orange and Rockland, signed by Alfred Gaddy, June 28th, no gas conflicts. Public comment letter from Data Center Crisis Coalition, New York, New Jersey, signed by David Rosen, July 17th. Public comment email from Mario Rocco, July 15th, 2026, and a short EAF prepared by Peter Sake, May 20th, 2026. Okay, anything else? Thank you very much. Andy, questions or comments?
I have no questions.
Thank you. Lisa, questions or comments? No, Lisa?
No, no.
Okay. Mike, questions or comments?
Yeah, if you need a narrative to explain out what you're doing, all right? Just, it doesn't really give us a good idea. I know what you're doing, but usually a narrative would explain it, make it a lot easier for everybody. Now, the HVAC, those new units that are gonna be put in, they're replacing current units?
There's 2 small rooftop units. Two small rooftop units going on, just to condition the enclosed loading dock area. It's conditioning
Okay.
500 square feet. Small package rooftop unit.
Okay, all right. Now, the the rooftop units, the current ones, are they being replaced? Nothing's being replaced. Okay, so all we're doing is 2 new units. All right. The current units that are there, the air conditioning units, are they closed systems or?
All closed systems.
All closed systems, okay.
Yeah. Don't use any water.
All right. I'm asking these questions so we don't have to ask them again.
I love it.
Okay. Now, those closed systems, do they have to be drained or
Never.
never?
No, there's actually a glycol mix that's in there, and, yeah, no, it never gets drained.
Okay.
If for some reason you needed to take the fluid out, you can't drain it, you actually have to take it and put it in barrels, because it's glycol, it's not actual water.
Okay, and then how is it disposed of?
Oh, yeah, you have to get proper disposal of glycol.
Okay.
propane Glycol.
Okay. All right. Are you using any additional backup generators?
There's an additional backup generator, and that went before the IUC and was approved. So
That-
this is just trying to actually get it on the site plan.
Is that number 6?
That will be, yeah, I guess 6.
Yeah, it looks like it's,
Sitting off on the side.
Yeah, it's off on the side.
okay.
Yep,
Okay. IUC approved it already?
IUC approved it. Full disclosure, it's been sitting there since November. Reason I took this upon myself was because nobody was getting this across the finish line and coming and getting permits and getting it approved. So
All right. Yeah, I know there's 8 of them there, 2 columns on the front window when you pull in there. Your permits,
Oh, yeah.
they're all posted.
Oh, you saw them all?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
all
yeah.
not lying, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Every contractor got their own permit.
Okay, no further questions at this time. Thank you.
Matt, questions or comments? Thank you. Okay, Dave, question or comment? Matt, question or comment? Bruce, question or comment? No. Motion to open to the public, please?
Motion open public portion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Anybody from the public? Speak on it. Yes, sir. Go state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, hi. My name is David Rosen. I represent my address is 10 Buckingham Place in Old Tappan, as many of you have seen me before at some of the other data center conversations. Thank you again, Chairman Warren and members of the Planning Board. Obviously, we're very sensitive to buildings that are adjacent to properties, residential properties, whether they be in New York or New Jersey. And this is a property which nothing on the plans indicate, but I am told, appreciate Mr. Mandel's comments, that this is a data center. Correct me if I'm wrong. Any kind of changes to a data center facility is of great concern, particularly when it impacts residential neighborhoods. They've been doing a lot of work, as was earlier described, with the permits that have already been approved. We sort of discovered this after the fact, and there was a lot of noise. Understanding construction, there is disruption during a construction phase, and no misunderstanding. But we really ask this board to give extra consideration when a data center type facility in an industrial level type situation where you have significant 24/7 air conditioning, which could create large hums. You heard at the meeting, albeit not this particular one, at the data center, my neighbor showed you a video of what kind of things we've been dealing with in neighboring communities. So we really ask you, and I saw nothing in the FOIL documents that showed third-party independent testing showing what the impact of noise, installation of additional type air conditioning units, full noise impact, post-installation noise testing, vibration impacts. Now, perhaps because of the smaller nature of this, some of this may not be necessary, but I really implore you to please look at what impacts. Are they increasing the megawatt requirements of this facility? None of this is in any narrative. So it's really not clear precisely what is being done here and what the escalation, if any, of this facility will be. So we ask you to please look into that, and we ask you to please consider, I put a letter, as you read, Mr. Chairman, please consider whether some additional testing should be done before a full approval is granted to this facility. Thank you.
Please sign the paper.
Sure.
Anyone else wish to speak on this? Yes, please. Answer for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Valentina Basono, and I live at, B as in boy, ISONO. Yeah. 334 Pleasant Hill Drive, New City, New York. I had a similar question to the man that spoke before, and I just wanted to know if there was any clear projections or estimates on the amount of megawatts used at this data center, and with this new expansion, how much that would add to the megawatt demand used, and yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if anybody, anyone else from the public wish to speak on this? One more time, anybody else from the public wish to speak on this? A motion to close the public session?
Close the public session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, okay.
There has been no increase in the electrical capacity from Orange and Rockland since this building was originally built in, or retrofitted in 2014, 2015. We've had zero increase from Orange and Rockland of additional power. So just want to make sure people know there's not additional megawatts.
Okay, thank you.
And it's been operated as a data center since 2015, when we gave you the original approvals.
Yes, yes. And not that it really matters, but I'm a full disclosure kind of guy. It's not like you see with everything else of AI. This is actually supporting a major healthcare network. This is like truly mission critical stuff for hospitals and, yeah. So I would like to ask for a continuance because all of the comments here that you addressed are saying they had no site plan. So I assume when I go back to PRC, then they may have additional comments. So I'd like to get a continuance if I can.
I don't know when you're gonna be able to get, yes.
Can I please have a continuance to the August 26th Planning Board meeting?
Yes.
For site plan approval?
And please have your site plan at that time, so we can review.
They're in. Audrey helped me out, and if, I'm lost without her, by the way. So she's a rock star.
What happened is he's asking for continuation until August 26th, so nothing's going to happen until that time. Very much. Thank you, everybody. Okay, thank you. We have this, correct? Correct.
Motion to approve the minutes of July 28th, 20... Oh, July 8th? I'm sorry, July 8th of 2026, as amended. Nope.
Second.
As presented, okay.
Presented, yeah.
As presented.
I'll
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None.